Chapter 8. She hasn't been here since this morning, Zara's mother told Leela, who had entered the store out of breath. Why? Is everything all right? Leela froze, remembering Zara's one request secrecy. But these are her parents, she argued with herself. She could be in trouble. Um, or she might still be in the cellar. Yes, everything's fine. I just must have missed her at dismissal. Sorry for the confusion. Thanks, Mrs. Nadina. Still breathing hard from her run, Leela walked awkwardly out of the store. Was that Leela? Asked Zara's father, entering from the back room. Eyes still on the door, her mother replied, Yes. Something strange is going on. First, that visit this morning from the general, an elder, asking us about magic, and now Leela has lost track of Zara. She turned to her husband. Should we be concerned? I think it's premature, he answered, dropping another bag of elk bark on its stack at the aisle's end. Let's give it till supper. If she's not back by then, I'll notify the authorities. I'd prefer not to talk with General Sharp again if I can avoid it. Did I just dream it all? Leela wondered as she marveled at the mended shelf and tidied floor of the cellar. She felt like she was going insane, and now she had to add panic to her feelings of guilt and concern. She moved closer to the repaired shelf and noticed the bronze sculpture of the now fingerless claw. Well, so that answers that. It did happen. Clearly, someone had cleaned up the mess, and clearly, Zara was not there. Leela exited the cellar and worked her way back toward the inner city, oblivious to the merchants and pedestrians around her completing their daily rituals. She considered notifying the guards and starting a search party, but Zara's parents would inevitably do that anyway, and Leela wanted to get a head start. Picking up the pace, she began forming an idea in her head, unsure if it would work, but by the time she made it back home, she was determined to try. In her room, Leela's slender fingers delicately gripped her paintbrush, its fine bristles poised to translate her vivid memories onto the canvas. With each stroke, the image of her dearest friend materialized before her, the hues of Zara's aquamarine eyes exploding from her caramel skin and wavy midnight hair. As the colors mingled and danced, Leela's talent breathed life into the portrait, imbuing it with a palpable sense of warmth and familiarity. When Leela was satisfied with the likeness, she moved on to the simple silver compass that lay on her desk. Painting it besides the facsimile of her friend caused the real needle to quiver with newfound energy. Her act of painting, fueled by the deep wellspring of her emotions, was infusing the compass with a touch of magic. As she finished up the reflection on its surface, the actual subject pulsed, with a faint, ethereal glow. The painting was complete in an hour, and though Leela could have spent another 3 hours on it, Zara's parents were probably already notifying Illyrian's security force about her absence, so she hoped that the rough approximation was enough for her plan to work. Placing her palette and paint on the bed, Leela approached her desk and picked up the compass. Its metal was warm from the imbuement of magic. The door to her room lay on the northern wall, yet the compass's needle pointed in the opposite direction. It worked, Leela celebrated in her head. Now having a beacon to connect her to Zara, Leela packed a change of clothes and some food, snuck out the door, and followed the needle. The outer wall rose several times higher than most of the buildings in Illyrian, save the spires in the center, a few inns, and a couple houses belonging to nobility. Being several paces wide, the top was composed of a sunk walkway for the garrison to patrol the surrounding countryside and port. Only three entrances allowed people and goods in and out of the city: the northern gate, the southern gate, and the river gate, which funneled foot traffic from the port. Their massive doors and the northern gate's drawbridge required many men to open at daybreak and close at sundown. A smaller door was built inside each to admit citizens in and out after hours. Thankfully, the port gate was still open by the time Zara and Alara reached it, allowing carts of food and materials in and out, many of which were pulled by equinors, Viridian's domesticated pack animal that resembled donkeys but were larger, more muscular, and sported longer snouts. Many of the carts contained food from nearby farms: leeks, cabbage, carrots, potatoes, and tomatoes. Wood was also carted in, along with spools of fabric ready to be sold or transformed by the textile artisans in the historic district into blouses, breeches, and tunics. Zara didn't visit the gates often, but when she did, she always enjoyed watching the bustle in and out. The guard who had escorted them to the wall resumed his post, and Zara paused before walking through the portal to the outside. Wait, she insisted, patting Alara's arm. There's something I need to do. Alara stood at the edge of the open gate while Zara walked over to an official looking stall that sat against the stone blocks of the wall. A stern looking man in gold and maroon was sorting parchment into piles on a table. From a distance, Alara watched as Zara appeared to negotiate with the man. She saw coin exchanged, and Zara was given a piece of parchment and a quill. She scribbled something down, pausing occasionally to consider her words. Then she blew on the parchment, rolled it up, and gave it to the man. When she returned, Alara asked, A note to your family? Sullen, Zara replied, Yeah, I just want them to know I'm okay. After a moment, she looked at Alara with wide eyes. I didn't tell them anything about you, just that I'm okay and not to worry. Alara peered through the gate to the hills and forests beyond. You should return home. They will worry despite your words. I'm not going back, Zara stated bluntly. I plan on disappearing, Alara explained, to live the remainder of my life in solitude. I do not want company when I do. Zara huffed. First of all, this is my chance to explore the world and make it out of the Warrens. If I stay, I'll never leave. I'll end up selling roots or scrubbing vegetables for the rest of my life. Secondly, the world needs to know what you know, and I want to know more. She held up the tiny bag of coin. And in case you've forgotten, I have money for transport unless you plan on robbing me. Lara's eyebrow raised skeptically. Technically, it's my coin, when you consider what was sold to earn it. Zara's mouth opened for a retort, but she had none, so she shut it. Still, you don't know anything about the modern world. You need a guide. Why have you charted Viridian? Are you an experienced explorer? Frustrated, Zara snapped back. Illyrian is one of the largest cities in Viridian. We see people from all over the world. I've been in school since I was 6, learning chronolore, numbers, making, nature studies, body studies. I guarantee I know more about today's world than you do. I'm not leaving. You can ignore me if you want, but I'm taking the same boats you are. Nodding gently, more in acquiescence than agreement, Alar responded, Just know that I am not responsible for you. I truly appreciate your help, but I am on my own journey. Yours may run parallel for a time, but my destination has only room for me. Okay, Zara agreed. For now. Together they walked under the shadow of the massive egress into the bright, wide open sunshine of the other side. Immediately the sounds of the city became muffled and were replaced by the buzzing of sailors loading and unloading cargo. Various ships, carracks, Bollingers, longships, passenger transports, fishing boats, all floated at the edge of the West Elios, tethered to docks or anchored in place. As they approached, Zara scanned them for one that looked as though the crew were preparing to disembark. One, a double mast freighter, was bustling with crew members hauling crates up the ramp and into the ship's hold. Excuse me, Zara began, hailing one of the men walking back down the ramp. A frayed gray bandana wrapped his sun darkened skin. We're looking for transport, Zara announced. Annoyed, the man pointed to the forecastle deck and rattled, Talk to the captain. Zara exchanged looks with Alara, and they mounted the ramp onto the ship. Immediately, Zara had to find her footing on the rocking planks. This might be a long voyage, she thought, trying to adjust to the swaying floor beneath her, which made it even more difficult to dodge the line of sailors coming and going. Eventually, the two made it up the steps to the front of the ship, where a block of a man was giving instructions to a sinuous one. Hello? Zara began after the subordinate walked away. Are you the captain? We're looking for transport. The wide man turned to inspect the speaker. Like most of the others, he also wore a bandana, this one red with white stripes. His dark trunk like arms poked through a worn leather vest, and his cream colored breeches puffed out at the knees before being stuffed into old boots. The tattoos on his arms and face, mostly of constellations, indicated he was nomad. His pigtailed mustache quivered as he spoke. Are you now? Aren't you a little green to be sailing on your own? I'm not. I'm with family, Zara answered, gesturing to Alara. Captain looked from Zara to Alara, then back to the younger. Oh, if she is family, then I'm the great sky crab. Alara took over. We have money. What is the rate for passage? Stroking one side of his mustache, the captain inspected the pair once more, trying to pinpoint their class. Well, that depends, doesn't it? Where you headed? The Reach, Ilara stated. The captain guffawed, one hand cradling his bulbous stomach, as though it would burst if he didn't. The Reach? Best sprout some wings, then. Off with you now. I have business to attend to. How far can you take us? Zara asked. The captain considered the proposal. For 5 suns, I can take you as far as the moorlands, but I don't venture past that. She looked at Alara. That'll have to do. Each, the captain clarified. 10 gold total? For us hitching a ride to a place you're going anyway? He shrugged. On a boat, space is at a premium. You dunna like it, you can walk. Huffing, Zara countered. How about 7? Tell you what, I'll eat one and row you for 9. 8. 9? Take it or I'll have my quartermaster throw you overboard like bilgewater. Pursing her lips, Zara dug into her money pouch. Fine. The captain shook Alara's hand heartily while Zara counted out 9 gold pieces, nearly half the money they had on them. Pleasure doing business with you. The name's Captain Renard Drake. Make yourselves at home on the Whispering Gale.